If you are just learning how to mix rap vocals and you really want to get good at it, but you're not sure if you're doing everything exactly right, then this video is for you.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor, face down. All of my mind is grayed out. Everyone see my face now, but man, girl, can't you say I'm more complete without you ruining my life?
Yo, what's up guys? As I just said, in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can mix rap vocals with ease. And make sure you watch till the end of the video because I have a really important tip that I'm going to share with you guys. And yeah, if you really want to find more ways to help improve your vocals and the overall sound of your music, then you should check out my website where I have 3 available vocal presets. One of them is completely free, which is the Caleb James lead vocal preset. And yeah, I think these can be a really good way to help you improve the sound of your music. So yeah, I'll have that as the first link in the description. But yeah, anyways, if you saw a couple videos ago, I did a tutorial on how you can mix pop vocals. In this one, I'm going to do the exact same thing, but instead with rap vocals. So without further ado, let's get right into the tutorial. Okay, so before we get into actually mixing, it's important to understand what a good rap vocal really is. Now, obviously it depends on the type of sound you're going for, but for just a really basic rap vocal, I think it's important to have a very clean and human-like sound so that your voice can really come through and there's not a ton of enhancements on it. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for with this mix right here. And if you guys want to see a tutorial where I do a little bit more of an enhanced vocal like Sofago or Lil Uzi Vert, then drop a comment below. But yeah, in this one we're going to be focusing on more of like a Polo G, like clean type rap vocal. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to be working in FL Studio, but these same exact principles will work in any other sort of DAW like Logic or Pro Tools, anything like that. Just take the kind of techniques and processes I'm using with each plugin and transfer them over to your DAW, and you should be just fine to follow this tutorial. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to need is just your raw recording right here. So here's my raw recording.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor, face down. All of my mind is grayed out. Everyone see my face now, but me.
So yeah, that's the raw recording right there. And as you can see, it's very muffled and kind of dirty and muddy right now. And we really do want to clean that up and make it a lot clearer and allow our voice to really stand out in the mix, because that's what rap is kind of about. The vocals are the main point of interest. So down here, I'm going to kind of run you guys through the mix and show you exactly what I did. So the first thing that I did right here was I put an auto tune on the vocal. These are all going to be stock plugins within FL Studio. So if you don't have any plugins, then don't worry because these are all just going to be stock. But yeah, anyways, right here, all you have to do for the auto tune is just know the key of your song. And a way you can do that is search up song key finder in any web browser, and then something should come up that can help you find out the key of your song. And then once you find out that key, all you have to do is come over here to the left and put it right in the song. So that's mine right there. And as you can hear with the default retune speed settings, which is all the way up on the fast part, the vocal does sound a little bit robotic, as you can hear.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor, face down.
And as I said before, I'm trying to make this vocal a little bit less enhanced, as it's going to be just kind of a clean standard rap vocal. So I am going to turn this down a little bit so it's not as noticeable. So maybe to about right there in the middle at medium.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor, face down. All of my mind is grayed out.
Maybe just a little bit faster so we can correct a little bit more of those notes.
She's gone, but she's replaced now.
Okay, I think that sounds pretty good for the auto tune. And then what I did next was added an EQ. So yeah, I kept this EQ very, very simple. And all I was going for with this EQ was just cleaning up the vocal, but keeping it very human-like and not cutting out too much of the low end to make it sound more robotic, and not boosting too much of the highs to give it that kind of modern pop clarity. Like I explained in my pop vocal tutorial, we just boosted it ever so slightly right here and cut out some of the frequencies in the middle. So yeah, let me just run you through this EQ right here. So yeah, I'll just run you through exactly what I did. I'm gonna start on the far left knob right here. All I did was I just created a little bit of a high pass right here to cut out any of those low unwanted noises that are kind of just in the background. I cut it out a little bit less than my other more poppy, modern, or enhanced vocals, I guess, because I want it to still have that low human-like sound in my voice. So I cut it out a little bit less than I do in my other vocals.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor, face down. All of
See, we're still getting those frequencies down there that I would usually probably cut out to about there, but I left it just a little bit more so we can have a little bit more of a natural sound. And then with these other ones, all I did was I just swept through and found frequencies that I didn't like and then just cut them out. See, as you can hear when I play it with this all the way up, you're gonna hear that this frequency really pops through the mix.
She's gone, but she's replaced now.
So yeah, all I did was just turn that down, and then I did the exact same thing with the other ones, and then same process with these other ones right here. And then for the high end, all I did was boost it just ever so slightly so we could gain a little bit of clarity and cleanness, but not enhance it too much to the point where it sounds kind of more like a pop vocal rather than a rap vocal. So yeah, that's all I did right there, was just boost that just ever so slightly. And then right up here in the high end, all I did. As I've said in my other tutorials, once you boost this high end right here, it is inevitable that you're going to boost some unwanted high harsh frequencies. So right here, all I did was just cut out one that I didn't like, as you can hear.
She's gone, but she's replaced now.
As you can hear, that's a pretty harsh frequency. So all I did was cut that out right there. You don't have to copy my exact settings. You can kind of play around with them a little bit, but just having a really simple and basic EQ like this is a really good guideline for a good standard rap vocal. Okay, so the next plugin that I added right here was the fruity compressor. Now, a common theme with this mix is we're just going to keep it very simple. Now, all I did was I put the ratio to about 3:1 right there. I didn't turn it up too much just because this is kind of where I like my ratio. You can play around with this a little bit if you want a little bit more compression or less compression, but this is where I like mine. And then all I did was I turned down the threshold until it just started to affect the vocal. And these compression settings are very, very similar to all my other mixes right here. Just very simple, but also a very solid start for a clean rap vocal mix. And then for the attack and release, I didn't really tweak them too much. I kind of just left them at their default settings. And then on the type right here, if you're using this specific plugin, you will have access to this. Not every compressor plugin does have access to the type right here though, but I just put it on the vintage setting. But if you're using a different plugin, don't worry, because the type of compression doesn't really matter that much. Just all these other settings are the ones that matter. So again, you can play around with this and tweak it to how you like, but this is just how I have my settings right here. And again, I think this is a very solid start for a clean rap vocal mix. Okay, so the next plugin that I added was another EQ right here. Now, what this is going to help is once we add that compression, we are going to have to either boost or cut out some more frequencies because the compressor does change a little bit of the quality of the vocal. All I did right here was I just did another little high pass, just cutting out any of those background sounds right there. And then just some slight balance changes right here. So just cutting out a couple more of those frequencies that I just didn't like, as you can hear in the vocal right here.
She's gone, but she's replaced now.
That's just one that came through again, so I just cut that out. And then one up here as well.
She's gone, but she's replaced now.
I just cut that out too. And then I did a little bit of a boost right here up in the very, very high treble areas just to gain a little bit of clarity right there. Not too much though. Like if this was a pop vocal, I'd probably bring this out here and boost that. But I just boosted it ever so slightly up in the very high areas just to gain a tiny bit of clarity, but also staying away from making the vocal too enhanced. So yeah, another very simple EQ right there just for some balance changes. After that are just a couple more plugins to help clean up the vocal again. So the next one we added was a fruity limiter. And what this is going to do is if we go to presets right here and then go down to noise gate, is we're going to create a noise gate. Now, what a noise gate does is it basically helps cut out any of the background noise in your recording. So anything under this certain threshold of volume that we set right here will get cut out. So as you can hear, if I play the vocal,
she's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on.
If I turn the threshold up that much, it's going to cut out any part of the vocal that goes underneath that threshold. So as you can see right here, anything that's under this kind of orange tinted part is going to get cut out.
She's gone, but she's
So obviously we don't want the threshold that high. So we're going to turn it down just enough so we don't cut out any of the vocal, but we make sure that we're cutting out all of that low background noise that we just don't want right there.
She's gone, but she's replaced now.
And then just making sure that I didn't cut out any of the vocal, but that sounds pretty good right there. And then the next plugin is called Maximus. Now what we're going to use this for is a de-esser. So again, just go to presets right here and then de-esser narrowband. Now what this is going to do is really help clean up that high end of the vocal. If there's any really harsh S frequencies coming through the vocal, you're really going to hear them. So this is a very good plugin to help me just tone those down a little bit. So all I'm going to do right here is play with this little orange toggle right here and turn it down until those S's are crushed a little bit. Not too much though, because we still want that clarity that we added, but just enough so that we're kind of tweaking those S sounds a little bit.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on a.
See, as you can hear, if I turn it down too much, then we're just going to completely lose all of the clarity that we worked to get. So just ever so slightly right here, probably around like the 5 to 8 or 9K range right here is where we're going to be cutting out.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor face down. All of my mind is grayed out.
So that sounds pretty good right there. And then for the last two I added was just another compressor and an EQ just to help balance out the final stages of the vocal right here. So yeah, with the EQ right here, again, we're doing a similar EQ to the second one we did, just some more balance changes right here, just final tweaks with the vocal. And it's always good to end with an EQ because you can really fine tune the vocal and get it to sound exactly how you want it to. So that's all I did with that one there. And then with the final compressor right here, all I did were very similar settings to the first one. So the exact same ratio right here, and then the threshold was pretty similar right there. Just again, making sure we're not getting any of those peaks of volume coming through. And then the attack and release, very similar. And then this time I put it on the soft preset of the type, just because I thought it sounded good. And then I did tweak the gain on this compressor though, because throughout that whole process of mixing, we did lose a little bit of volume. So I turned it up to 1 decibel right there. And so yeah, that's basically the whole basic rap mix right there. But yeah, as I promised in the beginning of the video, I am going to have a very helpful tip for you guys. So as you can hear, once I play it with the beat,
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor face down.
it is very quiet with the beat. So what I'm going to do down here is I created a whole different track, and we're going to do what's called parallel compression. Now on this whole new track right here, all I'm going to do is add a compressor and what's called a sound goodizer. Now this is just a vocal enhancer right here. It just makes the vocal a little bit louder and a little bit crispier. And then what the compressor is going to do is we're going to turn the ratio up to about 7:1 right here, so a lot higher than the other threshold on my other compressors. And then we're going to crush the threshold, so I crushed it to about -30 decibels right there. And then what you're going to do is crank the gain. Now what this is going to do is it's basically going to create a compressed double of the vocal that you can layer in and mix in with the main mix to make it sound a lot louder, and it'll give it a kind of a crispy rap vocal sound right here. So yeah, to add those plugins onto the main mix, since they're on a different track, all you have to do is make sure you have your main mix selected right here. Go down to this arrow and click it. Now that'll route it to this track. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it all the way down and then turn it up and mix it in until I think it sounds good. So I'm just going to do that right here.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor face down. All of my mind is grayed out. Everyone see my face now, but man, girl, can't you say I'm more complete without you ruining my life?
So as you can hear, that really helps bring the vocal out and make it a lot louder and crispier, which is exactly what we're trying to do with a really clean rap vocal right there. And then the last thing I did right here was just add a separate track again and just put my reverb on here. These are my reverb settings right here. So yeah, all I did was make sure I have the main mix selected and then click that arrow down there, and we just mixed in the reverb until it sounded good as well.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor face down. All of my mind is grayed out. Everyone see my face now, but man.
So yeah, that's the whole mix. Now obviously I don't want this video to make you feel like you have to follow these exact mix settings that I had for the plugins in this video. I just want you to use this video as a guideline to how you can get to that sound, but the way you get there might be a little bit different than the way I get there. So yeah, play around with the settings of the plugins and figure out exactly what you want your sound to be. And again, if you're really into improving your vocals and the overall sound of your music, then you can check out my website. Again, it has 3 available vocal presets for you guys, and I'll have that as the first link in the description. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
She's replaced now. Laying on the floor face down. All of my mind is grayed out.